What's up and welcome to Champions of Lore, a show all about the kick-ass stories behind some of Idle Champions' coolest campaigns and characters. Every Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here on twitch.tv/CNE Games or later on your favorite podcast service, B. Dave Walters and Erin M. Evans talk about all the Idle Champions lore you might possibly, sorta, kinda, maybe to make B. Dave happy so I don't say need to, know about. And if you're here with us live in the chat, you can leave a question that I, Treavor Bettis, will ask them later in the show. But until then, B. Dave and Erin, take it away.
See, to say need implies in their current state they are incomplete. You are not, dear friend. You are whole, complete, and perfect. Think of what we're doing here as bedazzling your life. We are increasing sparklification by at least 70%.
I can safely say I've never described me talking to people as bedazzling their life before.
Well, that's what it is. No. There it is. Yeah, between you and Erin. Hi, yes, B. Dave Walters. I do that thing you just saw me do. And also, we talk about D&D, and I'm happy to be here at B. Dave Walters on the Tweetagrams, Dungeons & Dragons Dark and Wish, Thursday at 5 on the official D&D Twitch. And I'm just around to make Erin happy.
You're so good at it. I'm Erin M. Evans. I'm the author of the Brimstone Angel Saga, a 6-book series set in the Forgotten Realms featuring Farida and Havilar, who are champions in Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. I also play Cecilia on Dungeon Scrollers, which is Wednesdays at 6:30 on Twitch, on that channel.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today?
Well, we've got, there's an event coming to Idle Champions this week, which is it Simril? Is that how you say Simril?
That's how I
believe. I would say Simril.
Yeah, it's a winter event, and it's taking place in the lovely and friendly and just wholesome town of Luskan.
I was telling Trevor before that I did not write anything set in Luskan, but I do have this line in Brimstone Angels that stuck in my head such that when Luskan was brought up, it immediately popped in, which is that Havilar describes Luskan as a place where you get stabbed in the night by pirates for no reason. I think that sums it up pretty well. It's kind of,
That's a fair assessment. I mean, there's plenty of places in Faerun to get stabbed, but usually there is an accompanying logic to it.
Right?
Luskan is, although you were just in knife range. Yeah.
It's kind of like, I think this is a classic of a fantasy setting where there is a city where everything is crap. And there's different flavors of everything is crap, but it's a great place to have lots of bad guys and lots of variants of bad guys, right? You have pirates versus thieves versus Brigandarth and the Arcane Brotherhood, and they're all controlling each other. You want to go?
Well, I was just gonna say. Oh, sorry. No,
you go fight a never-ending gang war. It's not a bad place to go.
Well, but I mean, the person in charge is model citizen and friend to all mankind, Gerlaxel, though.
Of course. Who would ever speak ill of Gerlaxel?
Yeah, that's right.
Whoever would speak poorly of Gerlaxel. Yes.
Nobody alive, that's for sure.
That's true. I am Gerlaxel. I have been everywhere. Yeah. That's and that's that is a credit to as you call him, Bob Salvatore, which is weird. I'm always like, his name is R.A. but the
first time
guy.
I heard someone call him Bob, I was like, who are they talking about? It took me 5 minutes to realize who they were talking about.
You're like, does he have a less successful, far more informal son that I need to meet? Yeah. It's funny. A buddy of mine was in Thor 2, and he told me a story of he was like sitting there eating lunch one day, and Anthony Hopkins walks up and just sits down with his food like everybody else and goes, "Hi, I'm Tony." And he's like,
"I'm Tony." What?
Yeah. And he's like, on the inside, it's like, "You're not though, but okay." Yeah. So similar principle, but yeah, to created kind of the dueling reflections of Drizzt, of Artemis and Treri in Gerlaxel, was all with there. It's like the holy trinity of roguish, thievish archetypes, with the sweetest boy Drizzt in the middle, and like this wheel of not him spinning around it. Yes. No, but to your point, I 40,000% agree with you that Luskan is not a nice place, which is funny because usually I find when you get pirate cities portrayed in media, usually it's like secretly with a heart of gold type thing, that it's like you just come be yourself and do your own thing.
Second half of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, right. But it's definitely far more skeletons in Luskan. It's true.
One of the things that Erin and I were talking about before the show was how like it's hard to set a campaign somewhere like Luskan, because like in Waterdeep you have Skullport, which is kind of like Luskan-ish, but with beholders and stuff, and so you can have this different thing where it's like, all right, well, here's the good side, here's the evil side, and you kind of bounce back and forth. You want to protect the good side from that, or in Luskan it's just like everything sucks. They're just like you said, you're always in knife range. I don't know how to save the town because it doesn't want to save itself.
Yep.
It's like, this is how they like things. It's working for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Maybe we leave.
Yep, which is funny because it's two things. We talked about 10 Towns a bunch for a couple of weeks there, and Luskan is actually further north than the 10 Towns, but most people consider 10 Towns the edge of civilization. Remember what we said about 10 Towns, okay? That they're like, no, we don't even talk about other. This
is how little I use Luskan. I didn't know. So it's further north than 10 Towns?
Yep, it's further north.
Wow.
Yep. But it's interesting because we've also talked a lot about the timeline of the realms and how it is fluid at best. And usually 1492, I find, is around the last time they give a date to things. Like, I don't even know what the current modern era is.
I don't think they want you to know.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, when is it not? Yeah, but Gerlaxel was still in charge as of the very end. So theoretically, if you set your campaigns going up there, like unless a book dropped like this year that changed.
Yeah, looking at the timeline of Luskan, it says rulers Gerlaxel 1492 DR. So that looks like to be the highest point currently.
Yep, and and you just go up and you have a very snuggly, very cuddly drow who just super happy fun time with a drow pirate in Luskan.
And he is a champion in the Idle Champions game, so he's doing some good there. Maybe not always, but a little bit of good at least in the game.
No, I don't know that you can draw that conclusion as such, because Strahd's got a pretty good grip on Ravenloft, and I don't know that that's because he's doing good there, or
he's brought stability to this domain of dread.
Yeah, same thing. Like the Xanathar, I don't know that altruism is why he gets to wear the big monocle.
The big monocle.
Would the Xanathar wear a single monocle in the middle or a number of like tiny monocles?
There's just one monocle on one eye.
Yeah, no, just one eye stalk with a monocle.
Right. That's the classy stalk. Is that one up there?
That's the pinky being held out.
That is. Mm-hmm. That's the Connecticut eye stalk up there. Yeah.
Slightly to the side in the board game Lords of Waterdeep, which is one of my favorites, right?
Yes, me too.
And you have the expansion. Scoundrels of Skullport has the Xanathar as a playable character, but there's a quest in the original that's confront the Xanathar.
Mm-hmm.
And my son loves being the Xanathar and getting that quest. And all I can think of is him just looking in the mirror and going, we can do better than this with his livestock.
Look at you. What are you even doing?
Right. You gotta confront your demons, man.
See,
like,
I like
you deserve all those points for that, Xanathar.
I like to think that the Xanathar actually gave them that quest. They're like, they open it up, look at it, look back up, and the Xanathar's like, fight me.
Well, yeah. Well, especially because in recent years, but historically, whenever I would have the Xanathar in a story, I had him be pretty menacing because it's like a beholder gangster. Like, I think that's pretty, frightening. And in Xanathar's Guide to Everything, you get that he's sort of kind of not all there. And then when we were doing Beyond Heroes with Todd Kenrick as the DM, we went to Waterdeep and we met him, and he played this Xanathar, like this very doofusy guy, and like now that's trapped in my head is like this monstrously powerful creature that could literally disintegrate you with a look that's just kind of derpy. Yeah,
little tongue sticking out.
Very intimidating in Beholder, though.
Yeah,
true.
I'm sure Beholders are like, whoa, that guy, like he doesn't even have to look cool. That's terrifying.
Considering like beholders look down on literally everyone, including each other.
Right.
Being like the least human beholder might actually be like a strength. You know what I mean? He's all like, "Ooh, he's so edgy and countercultural." Like I mean, wait, is Xanathar like the Xanathar a beholder hipster?
It is now. Yeah.
Think about it.
There's a lot of mind. There's a lot of mind blowing going on right there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like he's doing all of this ironically.
Yeah.
Can you get IPA in Waterdeep? You shouldn't, but can you? Is the question. God. Can he grow a fluffy beard? Like it would go to the ground. Like it would almost be like, Treavor, I know you're trying to move us along, but I'm going to die on this hill of the hipster Xanathar.
Oh no, I was going to say, chat, if you would like to suggest what names the Waterdeep IPA has,
wow. Okay.
We're so far now from Luskan. I'm okay.
I mean, you know what? We're not far from Simril because that festival occurs in Waterdeep and possibly down at Skull. You see what I'm doing there? See what I'm doing?
Maybe there's a Simril IPA special.
Right?
Yeah.
Something with, I mean, it's a holiday where you go out and you look at the stars, right? You try to find your lucky star, your family star. That goes great with a clever beer name, I'm sure.
True. Yeah. Actually, I did want to read this or kind of paraphrase the thing about Simril on the wiki, because I really love the thing about like it's about going out and finding your birth star in the night sky, and if you don't know what it is, then there's people selling you star charts. They're just like, oh, you don't know what star you were born under? Here you go. You'll take some gold. And but the part that I really loved was if it's cloudy, that's actually considered to be better, because if you can find your birth star in an overcast sky, that's considered a blessing of Tymora. And I love that. I think that's so cool. I also really like Tymora.
I would feel like that would be more moving if the ability to easily affect the weather weren't so common.
That's a fair point.
Can you imagine people like lined up along the docks of Waterdeep that are like clouds, and it's like, no, clear clouds, clear. It's like counterspell, dispel magic.
I like the idea more where there's just like a group of people and they're trying to see their star sign, and there's one wizard or sorcerer that's just like just shoots a little hole through the clouds. There's mine.
This feels like a holiday that's a lot of fun when you're young.
Yeah.
Like it feels a little like New Year's Eve. Like when you're a kid, it's like, yes, I'm gonna stay up till midnight. And then when you're young, you're like, I'm gonna stay up and I'm gonna wear a sparkly dress and I'm gonna drink a lot and it's gonna be great. And then you get older and you're like, it's the new year again.
Yeah.
Another one of those coming around. I did it. Can I go home now?
Yep. Let's put this one behind us, you know? Another year further from the spell plague. Hey, you know, it's you know it's what we complain about all the rough stuff of 2020. Like imagine if you're like 65 and you live in Faerun and you're like, oh, the whole Avernus thing again. You know, you're like Zariel. Woo, yeah. Like, you know, last year
I have some submissions for the Waterdeep IPA.
I just want you to know I'm already so proud of all of you. Like he hasn't said a word and I'm already so proud.
First off, Trontarian says, but how does the Xanathar wear skinny jeans?
Now you
eye stalks.
I had them just floating underneath him.
I also had him floating, but I think the jeans on the ice stalks is even more countercultural. Also, you know why he's so grumpy all the time. He can't grow a beard. He can't wear skinny jeans.
Let's see. What is this? Utah Imi cosplay? I think that's how that is. It says, what's a beholder?
Utahime cosplay. That's a friend of mine.
Hey. Hi. Nice. They say a beholder version of a man bun, and I've actually seen this. If you go Google beholder hipster, it has all of their eye stalks just pulled back into a man bun, and it's got like one like my style glasses on with a neckerchief. It's the best thing ever.
I am here for beholder man bun.
Yep.
That is great.
Utahime. I said my own friend's thing wrong, but it's Japanese. That's not my fault. But yes. Okay. Also, wow, apparently there's a beholder hipster rabbit hole to fall down that I didn't know.
Did you even know? Yeah, you was like, you didn't realize the sinkhole here when you poked it. We're just
oh my gosh. Okay, you guys, open a new tab. Don't leave us here, but open a new tab. And he's right. It's got the glasses. Wow. It's got a neckerchief. It's levitating a camera and an IPA.
No, that is Pabst Blue Ribbon. That is
PBR. You're right. He's got a PBR.
Okay, so for listeners, you got to go do this on your own. But for people watching the chat, just in case you can't open up another tab, there is the beholder hipster
Farron.
for you all.
Kyle Farron, you have given us such joy.
Yep. Wow. Wow.
Now, as far as the names of beers go, we've got Evil Emperor Zerg, who says Simril Star Ale. It's heavenly.
Ooh.
Gamer Cabot says Xana beer. I do kind of like Xana beer.
Xana beer, right? The Xana beer.
Robert
N. Emerson says, what is this?
Xana beer is a Pilsner, I believe. As someone who does brew beer, Pilsner.
That is officially, I want you to mark this timestamp, everyone. That is the biggest hipster statement that Erin of the Thousand Evans has ever made. She just actually'd us live on here. Okay, yes, please.
So Robert N. Emerson says, Impilter Pale Ales Grins. I don't know. I'm out of the loop on that one. I apologize.
Impilter is a place in Forgotten Realms, and India is not. So an IPA would be an Impilter Pale Ale.
Pro Slacker Nifty says, yes, I will take the Stab Wound Pale Ale.
Nope.
Rainbow Smash 707, Luskan. Oh my god, this is a tongue twister. Luskanitas. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
I'm sounding these out. Welcome to my dyslexia, everyone.
Literally, that's this whole show, us trying to say stuff we've only ever read. Yeah.
And I'm just doing it live here. Robert N. Emerson comes back with Easting Reach IPA, Old Water Pale, and then Garwar says that would Silgar be a golden ale?
I'm gonna jump in here with Tales from the Yawning Pale Ale.
Oh, I like that one.
Yes.
The
Seasonal.
Yawning Pale Ale.
Yep. The most ironic thing out of all of this is I detest IPA. I hate it. But
I do too. I'm a stout guy.
I have a theory that everyone hates it. Honestly,
I like it. I will be honest. I don't like it when people get into like the hops arms race of like how much can we do?
Yeah.
Here?
Yep.
Take it down. Fresh hop it. I love that. But like, let's not go like, look, we put 16 kinds of hops. You can't appreciate 16 kinds of hops in one beer. What was the point of that? Just because you
ends
could?
up just being Dr.
You're not
Pepper.
Frankenstein.
Again, you were so busy thinking if you could, you didn't start and think if you should. But here, look, if you have to create a euphemism for bitterness, your craft has already gone astray. That's all I'm saying. Okay?
Trontarian comes back with, in my opinion, the best one. Walking Statues Brewery presents the Godcatcher IPA. I love that one. I also love the idea of one of the walking statues of Waterdeep getting turned into a brewery.
That's what I was gonna say. Like the Godcatcher is my first book that I mentioned before, and it now exists in Waterdeep Dragon Heist, I believe, in some fashion. But it's an apartment building. So what I love about this in particular is the notion that there is like a sort of illegal brewery happening in this apartment building.
Better yet, the toe of the walking statue is a microbrewery.
Yeah, it's like a speakeasy. I mean, it's the last place you check. Think about it.
Right.
It's the last place you check.
I feel like the landlady under Blacklock is very like, okay, whatever. Are you paying your rent? Then I don't care. Then
Just don't blow it up. Yeah.
Yeah, don't blow it up. If you poison anybody, that's on you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So where were we talking about?
Simril.
Simril.
We pulled the twist maneuver out of Luskan back into Simril. Although theoretically they celebrate Simril in Luskan because it's all up the Sword Coast.
Yep.
So we're all
and that is where this event is set, right?
Yep. This in Idle Champions, it is set in Luskan for Simril, which is really funny because it seems like such a joyous and happy holiday, and the event is set in stabbed in the night by a pirate USA.
Like reflexively murdering pirates need joy in their lives too, especially in winter when you live so far north.
That's true.
You know, well, and I realize we're crossing campaigns here, but theoretically, I get what Arl's doing should have affected them too. Like it should be like unseasonably cold in a place that is already like far north.
I bet their pirate murder rate dropped a lot during those events. You don't go out, or maybe you just kill all the other pirates on your ship if you are reflexively murdering.
Like every building has like one person, either one person left in the whole place or one person per room. Like if that's social distancing, stay more than 6 feet away so you don't get stabbed, you know? It's like knife distance.
I am now thinking about like triple bundled up pirates while Oral is like making it super cold. Or like, we still gotta be pirates.
Well, I mean, especially because again, that's a big part of Rime and the Frost Maid is all the rivers are frozen and people can't get out. So I mean, are they just like in her selfishness, Arl has inhibited the piracy trade.
Oh my god.
Of all the Sword Coasts. Maybe that was a real plan.
That is a fascinating like cascade effect, right? Like how does this affect the stability of Luskan?
Well, now imagine if there was one of 10 towns that was like, no, we don't want you to stop her. We're fine sacrificing people because the pirates stopped showing up.
Yeah, like everybody's gonna, you know, and again, this. Okay, first of all, I want you to know, dear viewer / listener, this is really what it's like in the mind of a writer, where this whole thing kind of snowballs. Yeah, because I very much can see now there's less piracy on the Sword Coast. Lord Neverember, who we still don't know if is half tree or not, super takes credit for all of this because that was his whole thing. Like, I will bring peace and safety to the Sword Coast because I'm the best thing ever. And all these people are like, yeah, they're like, wow, he solved piracy. And in like 6 months, 9 months, it's just like dun da 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 dun da 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 da. This like black fleet coming down.
I do like the idea though of like Neverember sitting there one morning and they're giving him the report and they're like, oh yeah, there's been like a massive decrease in piracy recently. We don't really have any explanation for it. He just looks at it and then goes, I did that.
The gods have smiled upon me. The great treants in the sky. You know?
That's a good point though. Like if you finish Frost Maiden and you're like, now what? Like, well, guess what? Like piracy starts up again.
Yep.
Neverember is now like in deep trouble, and Neverwinter is in absolute chaos. And they thought they were done with this.
And it's your fault. You know, it's all the butterfly effect. By stopping one menace, you've simply unleashed another.
I'm coming in with some breaking news from Garwar. He says this conversation has gone astray with the misinformation of Luskan being further north than 10 towns. I think Googling needs to be done now.
You know, hang on a second here. Luskan, also known as the City of Sails, was the port city at the mouth of the River Mara on the Sword Coast North. Luskan, despite the presence of 10 towns, was considered by many to be civilization's farthest reach.
Ooh. Does that mean that 10 towns is further north? Or
I need a map.
I got a map. This is not an area of the realms that I have looked into.
Me either. I'm like,
hey, I need a map. There's literally one behind me. Oh yeah, no, Luskan's totally further south than 10 towns.
Which doesn't mean pirates can't sail north, actually, how far did Arl's thing go? I don't recall.
So it's not a swerve against Luskan, it's a swerve against 10 towns. The people are like, the horrific pirate city is the farthest that we will consider. Then beyond that, you all don't exist.
So it looks like Luskan is just before Icewind Dale.
Okay.
So how many times do I click to see a map?
How far does Arl's reach go?
I mean, I guess that's kind of like up to you, the person running it.
Do this. This is entertaining.
Yeah,
that's my
this
argument.
Is much better.
I like how we're just like, no, go with our plot. Don't worry about what wizards put. Just go with our plot.
Yeah. Well, no, hey, this is an addendum. This is an epilogue.
Right? And I feel strongly that Wizards is like, you should do what's coolest. And look, this is coolest. That's the answer.
Agreed.
Charles Reach goes down past Luskan. Neverember says, I did it. Chaos ensues.
There you go. Done. Chaos ensues. Yes.
Another person in the chat. Who is this? Cassius335 says Ariel having a chat with Neverember would be fun. Yes. I mean that now that's super interesting. We're like he's doing stuff with her to like make sure like, oh no, keep Luskan frozen. Don't worry.
That is interesting.
I think I appreciate it. Yeah, he had a vested interest in all of this.
This is why this show is lore adjacent.
We're creating new lore along the way while we're talking about previous lore.
Right.
Adding lore.
I think the real question is just how are you going to define lore? Because I got a secret. All of this is made up.
I do like to think that eventually at some point as the show keeps going and we keep going on these tangents, Chris Perkins just going to end up hate watching this show where he's just sitting there with the cereal. Wrong.
Again, I have escaped him multiple times already. My rampage continues unabated. You had me in your clutches, Chris Perkins, and I escaped.
So, really, this is just the consequences of his action.
It's true. It's true.
There it is.
And I'm going to point out, Ed Greenwood watched us and said we were great. Yeah. And so
there it is. Yep. See, these are the fight. I will tell you though, especially this is kind of a storytelling / DMing thing, is that if you're ever not sure of what to do, all of these unintended consequences are always great. Just like, well, what's the last thing they did? What's the worst possible outcome from it? Like, oh, okay, they killed the dragon. Great. Turns out the dragon was the only thing keeping the storm giants in check. Now they're invading. Like, it's always that butterfly effect of their actions, and it's just as simple as doing something like that.
It's not like bringing it to Idle Champions. They do that, like the adventures that they go on and whatnot. Even when it is like the campaign ones, like Dragon Heist or Descent into Avernus, they're changing it to go along with the fact that like we've got all these incredible heroes going to fight this thing now. And I'll be honest, there's been some things in Idle Champions I'm like, that is really cool, and I'm going to steal that. So yeah, that's one thing that I do love about the shows, because we do, go on tangents and we do lore adjacent stuff, but it's like that's kind of what Idle Champions is. Idle Champions is lore adjacent. It's like, how many times are you going to see Minsk and Gerlaxel go take down some people with Frida or Havilar? Like, not that often, but in here you do, and that's canon for the game.
Also, you have to run Gerlaxel in your squad if you're doing this set in Luskan. By the way,
it's required.
I'll be honest, I do challenges like that with myself in the game, where it's like something set into place and I know a hero's from there. I'm like, they have to be there. I don't care if it's screwing up my formation. It's a challenge now.
They should. As although again, I don't know if that's bonuses or detriments. Like if you have to like lay siege to your hometown and you're like, oh.
How are you gonna get them to open the door if you're not Gerlaxel?
That's true.
I like the idea that Gerlaxel's saving the town, but he doesn't want anyone to know he's saving the town, so he's like using his rapier and then like covering his face with his hand.
I want to believe he wears his
hat of disguise,
the extra skin.
Oh,
what's that called? Have you seen Gerlaxel's what is the phrase? I'm losing it. Like the bonus skin that the DLC you can get.
The costume is it the birthday one?
Yeah. Yeah, he's like a clown.
Yeah, and he's got
like a clown with like a balloon
rapier.
Animal rapier. Like, I want to believe that that's what Gerlaxel wears to sneakily save his skin, and that no one recognizes him.
Chat,
see,
I have another question for you, chat. What is Gerlaxel's clown name?
Oof.
Good question.
I mean, depends on who you're asking. Dritz would be like, it's Gerlaxel.
He's not good at this disguise thing, I guess.
Yeah. See, I feel like Gerlaxel would be out here and do it and let everybody see him because he intends to kill all the witnesses. So that's why he's like wouldn't attempt to hide.
I like it.
Jay does also point out that Gerlaxel also has a pirate skin as well.
Oh.
I mean,
fancy double.
Are not all Gerlaxel skins pirate skins?
That's fair.
Yep. But although now I know this was one thing that sometimes, full disclosure, sometimes we get a lot of visibility into this and sometimes we don't. Do we know of any of the new monsters that are being released as a part of this?
I don't think there are on this one because it's an event. But that one usually comes in the updates, like the Avernus one we just had, and ones we will soon be having that we don't have knowledge of.
I mean, true. Again, our visibility is variable, but what I do know is one thing that we're getting is something that is very near and dear to my heart is a Warden, who is a Warforged Warlock from Eberron.
Yes.
Is going to be introduced into this. A tortured Warforged Warlock from Eberron, who was the warden
of Warforged.
The best kind, who was a warden of a prison for extraplanar threats before becoming corrupted by them. Imagine they got to the Terminator. That's an interesting concept because I play a Warforged on Ascension Thursdays on Roll for it, and this idea they're machines. Well, they're constructs. There are no machines. But they are sentient, and this whole idea of whether or not they've really got a soul is things we always play with. The idea of a construct forming a warlock pact is actually pretty terrifying, because why just stop with Warforged? Right. Yeah.
I have not mentioned this because it hasn't come up, but I was the line editor for Eberron novels.
Oh.
When, like, kind of at the end of that run, before they were tragically folded back. I love Eberron, and I would have absolutely written Eberron novels, but you can't edit yourself, really. So. But my first D&D campaign that I played when I started working at WotC, I played a Warforged sorceress, who was one of the ones that were sort of made by the engine down under Sharn. So she just appeared one day, and this halfling sorcerer saw her and saw the mark on her forehead and decided she was the reincarnation of his dead daughter.
Oh my god.
So she was nuts. And unfortunately it was the kind of game where the DM was mostly like combat, escape. So I didn't ever get a good moment to like make her like lose her mind over it, but I always want to play that character again because I love Warforged. Like
there's still time. I feel like that was how I would have to rationalize it too. I feel like if I was gonna do like a Warforged Warlock, I would be like, it was the specific production line like built to channel this eldritch power, and it just sort of went wrong. And instead of coming out like sorcery, came out as like warlockdom, where you're like, okay, Pact of the Fiend, let's go.
I love that kind of thing, and not really answering it.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe this is just like, this is an experiment. Like, what are these things? They're pretty new. Did that work? It did work. Now what? Can you make it do things, or is it gonna like just, follow the laws of robotics or something? I don't know. I'm a devil. I've never seen one of these things before.
That's true. That's Terminator plus Damien, I suppose. Yeah, Trevor. Sorry, what were you saying there?
I haven't run anything in Eberron yet. It's coming up. I'm going to be doing it soon. But my question was like,
just want to like ramble about everything I love about Eberron now.
Well, this has part of my question. Warforged and being a warlock, like if it's an infernal one, usually it's just like, oh, you give me your soul or something like that. Do Warforged have a soul?
Yeah, no, that's
also I challenge the fundamental question.
It's fair.
Well, I mean, yes, in the sense they're a playable race and as such have access to all the other classes, can worship gods, be clerics. I find having a sorceress bloodline to be questionable because you don't have a family. That is why I would be like, you were built for it. I mean, I would do it.
I don't want the answer. That's the thing. It's a weird thing. And if the DM thinks of a cool answer, cool. If the DM doesn't, that's a weird thing that you struggle with forever.
Like I kind of see this cool thing where like there's a Warforged that at like its core has a vial of someone's blood who is part of that bloodline and is kind of feeding magic off of it.
Maybe actually when she woke up, the soul inside her was this dead halfling girl. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's so many options, but I also want to say that a warlock pact that is, I give you my soul, you give me power, I think is very limited.
Mhm.
Like, I think that you can, that's like, once you've done that, you can't get anything else out of that person.
Yeah.
Right. Once you've made the pact infernal, I think it is the big one. Once you've done the big one, your devil's basically done with you. Like, what else are they going to get? But if they're like, oh, I'll give you that, but I need you to do a thing. Oh, I'll give you this spell, but you gotta go kill a guy, right? You can trip out this kind of thing, especially because you're trying to expand your influence, right? It's not about this one person. So if you have a thing, literally a warforged sitting in front of you, and you're like, does it have a soul? At some point, it doesn't matter. If you can make that connection, then you can get them to do stuff. If you can get them to do stuff for you, be your actor on this plane. That's, you can take a soul from one person, or you can teach them how to take many souls and get you lots of them.
That is true. That's the character Alistair Ash in Dimension 20. Shout out Brendan Lee Mulligan was the warlock that was kind of buying his way through. I also could see you playing it almost like an empty vessel, where it's like a devil has almost like occupied this thing that has this like mechanical shell now and has these abilities in that, again, numerically all works the same, but narratively could be quite different.
Do you know what, speaking of empty vessels, the Kalistar in Iran, right?
Actually, real quick before you start on that, because it has to do with that, what's the cosplayer's name? I don't want to mess up saying it.
Tahime cosplay.
Yes. They say, I would love to hear your thoughts on the Kalistar race. I'm going to be playing one soon, and I find them so interesting. So that
you will be magnificent as a Kalistar. Yep.
So the Kalistar are bound to these beings. I think they're always called the Quarry. It's been a while since I've been real deep into Eberron stuff, so I'm going to pull things out, and I might be wrong, chat. Just blink it.
And a lot of it has changed too. That's not just you. A lot of it's changed.
So the Quarry are from the realm of dreams, right? And so they sort of forge this like bond, and the Quarry exists. It's sort of like what's her name from DS9 with the
Jenzia Dex or Dex.
Yeah.
I mean, there was multiple Dexes, but yeah.
Right. What was I don't remember what the race of the symbiont.
Trills.
Trills. Thank you. So it's sort of like that. Like, you exist, but also this other mind exists, and you are this like kind of complete being. The inspired are evil Kalistar, right? And then the sort of empty vessels are Kalistar that don't have that connection, if I'm remembering right. But this is interesting. If you're a Kalistar warlock, is that sort of like having a side piece? Like what does your Quarry think about it if you're also like having this connection to a devil? That's a weird connection, and I love it.
I would think about it. It's how you form the pact. Because again, Trevor, it is like being voluntarily possessed, more or less. But like, you're a team. Like, it's more active than the ASMR thing, because the ASMR kind of have their guiding spirit that when you're sleeping, they're like, keep up the good work, maybe stab less people. But the Kalistar, like, they're with you. They arguably speaking through you all the time. I would feel almost like if you did like a Kalistar with like the Celestial Pact, I would be like, that spirit is the source of your power. You know what I mean? Personally. But like you said, there's a lot of dope ways to do it. I do have to throw out a couple of things that we didn't say. I want to make sure I say out loud. Is part of this event, some of the things that are being released along with Warden, shout out to our tortured homie, are Hadar, and some of the Elder Evils are being introduced. And Hadar is essentially a star-like Elder Evil, which I love the idea. Super deep cut here, which is probably not wholly unrelated, that there's this festival where everyone's looking for the star, and then there's this one horrifically evil one that Starro was the first villain they fought in the Justice League. So like, evil interstellar starfish have like a special place in my heart, although Hadar is not a starfish, it's star-like. But just imagine that you're like, I think that's it. Wait, is it coming closer?
Cold horror, the void opening in my heart.
I don't like this. I'm gonna go inside and drink some walking statue IPA instead. Nope.
Godcatcher
Act
IPA.
One.
There it is.
It's an Act 1 callback with the Godcatcher IPA. And there is, besides those, there's also the Arcane Brotherhood. Dadius the Scarlet, who is so arrogant he thinks that one day he will be able to show Elminster a thing or two.
Oh,
I mean, it's.
Oh.
I mean, although Dadius is like really cool character art, though. Yeah.
Maybe you can show him how to be cool.
And for clarity, those are the two previous champions that came with this event, and they're you can get their stuff again here and get some gold chests for them.
Do they have some new skins?
No, I don't. I do not believe so.
But if you missed them, you can get them now.
Yeah, and as a heads up, because some people might know this, they don't know, there is a new champion coming with this event. It is Lucius from High Rollers. The reason we're not talking about them here, they're awesome. If you haven't seen the artwork yet, go do it. It's that style on point for me. But the reason we're not talking about them here is because High Rollers is 100% homebrew, so it does not have anything to do with Forgotten Realms and stuff like that. We love the character and whatnot, but for this one, we're trying to keep it to Forgotten Realms. So just as a heads up.
With deviations in the, Eberron and the Justice League, but yes.
Well,
but
yeah.
Still, canonical properties. Yes.
Okay, so this is the one thing I have to say that I love about Eberron, but I would love more of, is monster kingdoms, right? You have Dargoon, right, which is all the goblinoids, and they have like this like stable society where they do what they're doing, and now you have to treat them as another entity. And Droam on the other side, you have a whole nation of monsters ruled by night hags. Like, that is
cool.
so freaking cool, right? And then you have they have to make treaties with them and stuff, right? That gets complicated and weird, and I love it.
I'm just saying,
barbarian elves.
I'm just saying, Mordor was the true, inclusive, egalitarian, and diverse society versus those freaking elf supremacists and stinky dwarves and dumb humans. That's all I have to say about that. But yes,
eats food poorly humans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Keith Baker. Shout out to Keith Baker, our homie.
Keith is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Keith, I want to do a shout out for some novels that you should check out if you're interested in this stuff, which will be available as ebooks and audiobooks easily. Keith did a series called Thorn of Breland, which was like super spy with deep secret memories in Eberron, and the first book is called Queen of Stone, and she goes to Droam for a diplomatic summit and ends up kind of becoming best friends with the Queen Medusa, which is great, except also they're enemies. It's amazing. And I would also recommend Don Bassingthwaite's Legacy of Dakan, which is about Dargoon and it's this whole succession crisis political thing, but with goblins.
It's Game of Thrones with goblins. I was thinking Downton Abbey with goblins, tiny little tuxedos. They're like, what is a weekend?
If I were still buying Eberron books, if I was still commissioning Eberron books, B-Dave, I would want that 100%.
Just saying, hey, Watsy,
bring back the novel line.
You guys know how to find me. Yeah. And I will say this also, you guys, this is the value of these stories that a lot of times you think that it's like, oh, but it's an old novel. It's like, no, but it's still one, great, and two, still relevant. These worlds still exist and you can still bring in elements of it, which is why you should buy the Godcatcher series, a 6-part novel by Erin of the Thousand Evans.
No. The Brimstone Angels is 6
Brimstone Angels. The Godcatcher is just the first book in the series.
Godcatcher is actually from a different series called Ed Greenwood Presents Waterdeep, and that actually does have 6 books in it, but there are 6 different authors.
There you go.
So Godcatcher is a standalone. Brimstone Angels is the 6-book series.
You should buy them all. Just buy Erin's books first, because she can't say this. It'd be ghosts if she did, but I can. I'm the Flavor Flav to her Chuck D, and you'll appreciate Frida and Havilar so much more. Yeah, it's true.
The other thing that I do want to,
you should also pick up A Darkened Wish.
I already did. So the thing I do want to add to this though also is for Idle Champions, if you all are playing that, I'm assuming because you're here and watching us, but you can take those those little things that you read there, were just like, oh yeah, they're part of the Arcane Brotherhood, and you might be like, what the heck's that? Go Google it, go find out about it, and you can. The thing that I love about Idle Champions, because it's set in D&D, is it's always got my mind thinking about D&D, and so there's little things that I can then go find and go put in my games because I saw them in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the crew over at C&E Games, they really love these things and they really layer in so much detail.
Yes.
And so many nuances and things that you will pick up when you know to see them, in nods to things, in allusions to things, in callbacks to things, that is all just so brilliant. Like again, Freely is in the game. Averin is in the game. Penelope Halfpint is in the game. Briv is in the game, and some other people are coming to the game. And one of the things we were talking about, see that? Seamless. With the characters and items and things, there's so many like little nods in our characters to each other that they wove in to the game, not us. And so all of Idle Champions is like a love letter to D&D in many ways.
Oh,
like
yeah,
you can
100%.
You can appreciate and experience it just on its own as a game. You don't know anything about this stuff, but when you do, you're like, oh, hey, yeah.
Like I know at some point some people will be like, isn't this a show done by Idle Champions? They don't talk about Idle Champions. It's like, well, no, we are, because this is the stuff. If you go in and look at people's backstories and you go and look at stuff, this stuff is all in there.
Read all that flavor text. There's a lot
so
of
much
stuff crammed in that flavor text.
They really do put a lot of work into that. And also, and then you let Freely just smite people, which is self-validating, by the way. When he just like jumps across the screen and bang, makes me happy every time. Sorry, go ahead.
No, what you were saying with the little things that they put in there, Garwar actually pointed out earlier in the show when we were talking about Gerlaxel being with everyone. He actually said that they did do this in game in Waterdeep Dragon Heist, where the text references people talking to Gerlaxel and the champions asking why, and him making up excuses for why he's there.
Nice.
I love that. It's attention to detail. That's why we can do a show about lore for the game, because there is a bunch of lore in the game. You may not know it. There's a lot of numbers flashing and stuff. There's a lot of lore in that game.
And it comes and it goes. Again, you can catch things from Idle Champions that you play at your table. Things at your table will show up in Idle Champions. Like, it very much like one feeds into the other. Yeah, very 100%. Easily.
But before we start winding down the show, I wanted to read a few of these from the chat. Ektar says, reap a soul, feed Avernus for a day. Teach a mortal to reap souls for you, feed Avernus for a lifetime.
There we go.
True.
Forward thinking.
As Asmodeus agrees.
Let's see. Robert N. Emerson says, there's always flexible room for a warlock pack that come more from concepts like vengeance than entities. So there's also that option as well.
Wait, what was his username?
Robert N. Emerson.
N or M?
N.
Okay, I didn't know if we had another 1,000 Emersons. Sorry. I was prepared to bestow the ancestral title.
Think of a warlock pack like the entity is less like this powerful thing that's giving you spells, the way that a cleric works, like the god is giving them spells, and more like your backdoor hookup to the power of that plane. So it's more like a guy who's helping you steal from the cable company he works for.
Like,
oh my god!
Want some Eldritch Blast? I got some Eldritch Blast.
Because and this does go back to like 4th edition, where they had things like Lorcan in Brimstone Angels is the pact master for Farida, and he's a Cambion, right? That is not coming out of him. He doesn't have any power, but he can basically hook her up directly to the powers of the 9 hells.
He can scale the telephone pole, mess with the cable box a little bit.
Except somehow in this case, the cable company is 100% behind it, and it works for them more than it works for you. So this metaphor does break down at some point, but for the record, that's my feelings.
It is if you have the time, and tables vary, but if you have the time, spending some time exploring how your characters are accessing their various powers is a really interesting thing to do, because theoretically the life in the magic of a cleric should be different from a sorcerer, should be different from a warlock, in what they have to go about and how they manifest these things. Because I know it is very easy to just be like, I cast Cure Light Wounds. I also cast Cure Light Wounds, and that's just sort of that. But it's like, it really is more than that if you think about it. Yeah.
I've heard of campaigns before where like a warlock will have a pact with something that one of the other characters doesn't like, and they're like, "Don't use your spells on me. I don't want their magic near me."
Yeah.
I like that kind of stuff. Like not
or your
not so much-
patrons like, don't help him.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's just like, see that
like
dude?
that.
Screw him. Like,
No.
do not mess.
Condition of our continued relationship: you don't talk to that person. Or
Yeah, exactly. Your warlock patron. Yeah, honestly, there's plenty of gods that would mean girl you. I was like your warlock patron mean girls, but there's plenty of deities.
yeah.
Their pact item is the burn book.
On Wednesdays we wear pink. Yeah, yeah. You're like you're like, will you cast haste on me?
No. Sorry, the book says that I can. It, there was that one time in gym. You can't do it anymore.
Yeah. I can't be seen. I can't be seen in the streets of Luskan with you.
I love the idea because I know there's things that players have had to been like, hey, DM, what day of the week is it? But I love the idea that they have to ask it to know what color they're wearing.
It's I mean, hey, prestidigitation. It's either prestidigitation or thaumaturgy can alter colors, so it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
That you, especially I actually hope it's thaumaturgy because that's a divine spell. So you go to cast a spell and it doesn't work, and it's like, you're still wearing blue. Yep.
Brian Cortijo says Gerlaxel's clown name is Gromfo the Magnificent. There you go. There we go.
Valid.
Valid. Oh, I did love this. Mox Pearl said, "Man, when I was only half following, so I heard extra skin and birthday, and my mind went places."
Ew.
Gerlaxel just that's he thinks he's invisible. That's the problem. Let's see.
I mean, he is till he isn't.
He's
got a floppy hat. You have to respect anyone with a Commodore hat.
Yes. You know what I love? My players have met Gerlaxel and they don't even know it. And I tell them that all the time. I'm like, you guys still don't know when you and where you met Gerlaxel, but you did.
I feel like it's funny. We're still tumbling this around in my mind. I'm still thinking like, it was so cold. They can't do piracy. He knows the Underdark. So Gerlaxel like launches a pirate raid onto the Underdark to attack some of those settlements to still keep the pirates.
They put balloons on the ship so they can slowly descend down, shooting cannons. Oh, that's so cool.
It's my gift to you. It's my gift to you, guys.
This is
Yeah,
full
enjoy.
of amazing hooks today.
Mhm.
Hipster Xanathar,
Uh,
Pirate
yeah.
Backlash.
Yep.
the last
Floating
one I'm
pirate
going to
to the
read from
Underdark.
here is
I stalk man bun. Yeah.
The last one we're gonna read here is from Trontarian again, who said, quote, "I cured piracy, Lord Neverember."
We all know that guy would. Notice at no point was anybody like, no, he wouldn't. We're like, I think he would.
He would.
Mhm.
But that, dear viewers and listeners, is going to bring us to the end of the show. Erin, B-Dave, where can people find you and what awesome things are you working on?
You first, please, ma'am.
All right. Before I do, I did want to do one more quick shout out. So I will say on Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m.
We wear
on
pink.
Twitch, Drunk Dungeon Scrawlers, I play Cecilia. And our DM, Eric Scott DeBee, is also a Forgotten Realms author, and he wrote a book, Shadowbane, which is set in Luskan. So
There we go.
if this did not give you enough pirates stab you in the dark for no reason, that book is full of people who are kind of terrible trying to be better, but also stabbing people for, well, they think they have reasons anyway.
Look, just add me. I'm right here.
And that is definitely available as an ebook. And I am also on Twitter at Erin M. Evans. I'm not always the fastest responder, but that is the best place to reach me if you, for some reason, wanted to ask me something, I guess.
Also, your Discord. Discord's good.
Oh, yes, we have a new Discord, and the link is available on dungeonscholars.com.
I've been in that Discord for a week now, and I've been really enjoying it. It's very
good. I'm
wholesome.
glad.
I should come and, sully it. Feel like really nice Discord you got here. It'd be a shame
The
if something
first thing
were
you
to happen
post
to it.
is just a gif of Shrek just drop kicking through the door. Somebody.
It's true. Yep. More like Let's just talk about Lord Neverendber's
You know what?
half woodenness.
They would love that. That's a lot of. I feel like a lot of the chat is like goofy D&D stuff.
Yes.
Like what? There was a tweet going around like, what spell does your drunk character abuse, and why is it not sending? Which
Mine is Charm Person.
So this is 100% banishment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done with your talking. There's the mute button. I'm out.
It's true. Mine was Charm Person because Dominate Person requires consent. B. Dave Walters. Find me everywhere at B. Dave Walters on Twitter. Dungeons & Dragons: The Dark and Wish is Thursdays at 5 on the official twitch.tv/D&D. Ascension is Thursday mornings. Everything is crazy. I'm somewhere doing something 7 days a week. Just follow me there. And DMs are open, so if you have any questions, because I went on a rail against the heresy of the Grey Jedi and why I hate it, and lots of people have been in my DMs respectfully, because if you say something nasty, I will roast you, but I've been having the same conversation like 6 different times. So, yeah,
I'll be honest,
Great
I liked
thread.
that tweet and then went back and reread and went, wait, I didn't mean to like that tweet.
I said what I said, and it's
said
up now.
what
Go
I said.
at B. Dave Walters on Twitter. Go read it. Yes. Okay. And we'll see you next week.
Yep.
Yeah. Trevor.
Yeah, you can find me on Difficulty Class Podcast every Friday, and we talk about, fun D&D stuff and ideas and things like that. And then on Wednesdays, we talk about the games that we're in. And if you want to hear about how I ended up sitting to Avernus, you can listen to this Wednesday show, and it was batshit crazy.
Sounds like probably landed about right then.
Yeah, no, it was great. But yeah, thank you for Jay for moderating in the chat as always. You do a fantastic job, and I wouldn't be able to do the show without you. Thank you to Codename Entertainment for letting us talk about some D&D. If you missed the show, or you're getting here late, or you missed part of it, you can listen to it on podcast services at 2 p.m. Remember, there's an extra gold chest thing in there that get some more loot and whatnot. Let's see. If you are here live with us in the chat, be sure to stick around for at 1 p.m. for Improvised Champions. That's right. Yeah. I haven't said in a while. I'm sorry. Improvised Champions with Mark Meir. And oh my God, Ariel, what's her last name?
Christina Ariel.
Christina Ariel. There we go. Sorry about that.
Hold it together, man. 40 more seconds.
I'm losing it.
Again, our pirate ship is descending and the balloons are starting to go. We're almost to the ground.
This show is a race to see how fast we degrade.
I just Gerlaxel with the wheel and a musket, like
and a balloon rapier. If you are listening to us, we'd love for you to be here next week with us in the chat, so you can riff with us on some crazy tangent lore that you might probably not need to know about, but it's fun to know about it anyways. But yeah, so that is going to do it for this week's show. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And until next time, champions out.